A spaceship is leaving Earth with another group of colonists traveling toward Mars. One passenger persuades her child to wave farewell to their world, since they will be separated for a very long time. The planned route includes two phases. A shuttle connects with the Aniara, a massive vessel that provides everything for comfortable life, and after 3 weeks it carries the travelers to the settled planet. A young woman named Emily Johnson aboard the vessel works as a mimoroban, guiding others through Mima, the system that lets people explore memories and visions so the mind does not grow tired of the repetitive space view. Emily especially enjoys recalling her walks through forests, and the visions even let her feel her bare feet touching the moss. A new neighbor moves into Emily's cabin. An adult female astronomer, through large monitors, explains to passengers the benefits of Aniara, noting the ship contains everything needed to avoid boredom: shopping areas, dining places, and even nightclubs if desired. During the trip, people can work in water purification or the algae facility, which is required for producing oxygen. The company rewards points that function as currency for this labor. Emily assembles another group for Mima sessions. Inside the visualization room, silence fills the space as the mimoroban lays people down on the floor, face down on a special cushion, and activates the system. The glowing panel flickers with colors, showing no direct images, but when needed, she uses a remote to access a visitor's visions. Suddenly, an emergency arises aboard the ship, and the entire group is thrown into the corner of the room. Passengers rush out of their cabins in panic to understand what happened. They gather in a large hall where the captain is expected to broadcast live. After regaining composure, he announces a system failure on Aniara and that the ship has lost all fuel and drifted off course. The crew insists it is not serious, claiming that by using the gravity of celestial bodies, they can return to Earth. However, the journey will now last slightly over 2 years instead of the planned 3 weeks. Angry passengers reject this idea, worrying about their own plans without realizing the danger ahead. Strict measures are introduced, yet the crew soon understands supplies will not be sufficient. At best, there is only enough food for a few months. One crew member proposes increasing algae growth more aggressively, which could help them survive the first weeks of isolation in space. People still try to remain hopeful, yet boredom is already setting in. Mima becomes the most popular place, as everyone wants more than the endless universe outside, and Emily feels overwhelmed, so she asks the captain for help. At the same time, the girl faces personal struggles, hoping to restart her relationship with another crew member who is a woman. Emily asks her neighbor how long it would take to reach the closest celestial object so the ship could turn back. The woman avoids answering at first, but eventually admits that, in her view, the situation is completely hopeless. There are no options that could save them. The crew simply does not know how to tell the passengers. After learning this, the mimoroban suffers a panic attack and runs to her space to lose herself in memories of Earth, while secretly drinking so the commander will not find out. The journey has already continued for 3 years. The passengers have adapted to life on the ship, accepting the long duration of the trip. Emily attends a party where she meets Daisy, and they choose to ease their loneliness together. When the pair steps into a corridor, Isegel passes by and gives Daisy a cold look, making her unable to relax. There are not enough workers on the ship to maintain algae and water systems. Even younger passengers are recruited, but the systems still fail to keep up, and all drinks develop an unpleasant sulfur odor. Strange events also begin occurring in the ship's structure as systems malfunction, and Mima, speaking in human language, begs for it to stop, since it can no longer endure processing people's memories. One person lying on the floor suddenly begins thrashing in hysteria, and when Emily connects her remote to him, she sees disturbing images in his mind. The mimoroban turns to the captain, asking him to allow the system to rest, but he believes this is the passenger's only escape and refuses her request. He also scolds her for interrupting the sessions. During the next session, Mima repeats its plea, and eventually the laser screen starts to break apart, finally shutting down the system. The customers are unhappy and blame Mima entirely. People gather at the hall entrance to hold a memorial, while management accuses Emily of causing the failure. They capture her and punish her harshly, later imprisoning her along with Isagel, who defended her. On the ship, a wave of mental breakdowns with deadly outcomes begins, and the captain has no choice but to release everyone from guard duty to take over workstations. Bodies are sent into open space since the ship lacks storage. Isagel is assigned to the logistics department, while Emeli returns to teaching, now educating children on board in space sciences that might help them during their prolonged confinement. After their release, Emeli and Isagel grow closer and begin a relationship, eventually moving in together. New communities and groups form across the ship, each hoping and praying in their own ways for rescue. At one gathering of a cult-like group, the women are invited. With Emeli's connection to Mima, they first observe and then join unusual rituals, after which Isagel becomes pregnant. Isagel falls into deep depression, fearing that bringing a child into this situation is wrong, but Emeli supports her completely. She even plans to create a light screen that would replace the darkness outside with images of Earth, but the captain refuses to waste resources on such an idea. The couple has a healthy boy who grows quickly, yet Isagel cannot escape the feeling of regret. While bathing with her son in the pool, she nearly commits a terrible act, but is interrupted by a message from the captain, who urgently calls for his former assistant. It is revealed that after 6 years of travel, an unidentified flying object has been detected, and contact with it may happen within about a year. Isagel estimates the size of the object and realizes it is unlikely to be a rescue vessel, but everyone hopes it might provide fuel to restore their path. Emeli joins the crew to support her partner during this important moment. The captain happily shares the discovery with the passengers, successfully raising morale among them. To celebrate the news, a party is organized on the ship with drinks and remaining delicacies. As always, the captain presents himself as the hero, taking credit for the crew's success. Over the next year, everyone trains carefully to launch probes and perform docking, and when the time arrives, the operation succeeds. The massive probe is secured in the cargo hold for examination and analysis. The child of Emeli and Isagel continues to grow, and the couple hopes he might one day see Earth. However, due to isolation and lack of other children, his development is delayed and he barely speaks. The ship's outdated technology makes it impossible to properly analyze the object, though efforts continue without success. The captain insists that giving people hope was not a mistake, as it helped maintain stability. However, Emeli's roommate becomes drunk and speaks too openly, causing panic to spread again. The captain notices this and quickly removes the problem, sending her body into space, though he still allows a memorial to be held. After taking a stimulant, Emeli goes to the bar and meets Daisy and her friends again. The group enjoys themselves, but another disaster soon occurs. An unknown object explodes, damaging equipment, and those working near the probe in the cargo area are lost. The captain orders the remains to be discarded while preserving any useful materials. Later, Emeli returns home and feels that things are calmer again. During a conversation, however, she realizes that Isagel has developed serious mental issues after putting their son to bed. Emeli shares her recent work achievements, and the two talk peacefully, giving Emeli a sense of reassurance. After wishing her partner good night, Emeli leaves to activate the light screen she has long worked on. It functions perfectly, showing images of Earth, forests, waterfalls, and landscapes, which amaze the remaining passengers. As she listens to their gratitude, Emeli plans to create more scenes and quickly returns to her cabin to hear her family's opinion. She tries to open the door with her key, but it will not move. After several attempts, Emeli realizes something is blocking it from inside. With effort, she forces it open and finds Isagel nearby, barely conscious. Moments later, Emeli runs to her son's room, where she is confronted with a horrifying sight. By the 10th year of the journey, only a few passengers remain. The captain gathers them in the main hall and awards Emeli for creating the light screen. As she receives the medal, she notices signs of his mental strain during his speech. He tries to appear heroic, encouraging everyone to feel proud for traveling farther than anyone before. By the 24th year, only a handful of survivors are still alive, aged and exhausted. Imeli leads them in prayer, asking for strength. The ship has long lost power and drifts through space like debris. Nearly 6 million years later, the spacecraft Aniara approaches an unknown planet within the constellation of Lyra, but no one left inside.